Good afternoon, everyone. I'm thrilled to be here today on behalf of Mayor Garcetti to celebrate the career of one of LA's most prolific business leaders, the incomparable, the indomitable, the legendary Carol Schatz. I first met Carol many years ago when I was working for a young council member, Eric Garcetti. I think she might have been yelling at him at the ropes for doing something progressive. Inclusionary zoning, trying to raise wages for hotel workers, or something pro-environment. But despite our differences, Carol and I have always liked each other.
She's the first woman, of course, to serve as the president and CEO of the CCA, and she has made that CCA what it was. She's a one-woman machine when it comes to downtown revitalization. I'm proud to call her an inspiration, a role model, a friend.
But let her be also an example for us ladies that being a strong fighter and being a successful woman is something that she embodies and that all of us should look up to. And that's what Carol does. Not only does she do it by being upfront about how she feels, but she also does it by being honest. And she does it by wearing high heels and looking fabulous. Thank you so much for everything that you do.
Let's welcome AEG's very own Dan Beckerman.
Galaxy!
If you were to survey a group of downtown stakeholders, there are probably a lot of adjectives that they would use to describe Carol. One of them was chutzpah, persistent, maybe stubborn, certainly tireless, maybe inflexible, intimidating a little bit. I agree with some of those. But if you ask the same group of people who was the most influential person in leading the renaissance of downtown Los Angeles, they would unanimously say Carol Schatz. I would add a few adjectives to that list myself based on my experience with her, and that is loyal, committed, intelligent, proud, intelligent, twice because she's that intelligent, and kind. But regardless of the adjectives that you use to describe Carol, we wouldn't have her any other way. And I'm grateful for her to everything that she's done in downtown LA. My office is at LA Live, and I think about Carol every day as I look out my window. And I don't just look out at Staples Center and LA Live and the hotel and the convention center, but I see the towers that are being erected all around us in South Park, billions and billions of dollars of development, none of which would have happened without the tireless dedication of Carol. So thank you for making our business great, and thank you for making downtown what it is today. And you know, Carol was an advocate for downtown when it wasn't necessarily cool to be an advocate for downtown. Today you see cool millennials skateboarding around here, and it's very cool to be pro-downtown, but 20 plus years ago that wasn't necessarily the case, and Carol was truly a trailblazer and a visionary. I actually find it ironic when we look up at Hope Street, because if there's one thing that I've learned from Carol, is that it takes a hell of a lot more than hope to lead a transformation. So on behalf of everyone at AEG, Ted Tanner, Phil Anschutz, Ted Fickrey, Martha Saucedo, Michael Roth, and myself, we want to thank you for your passion, we want to thank you for your dedication, and we even want to thank you for your stubbornness. Congratulations.
Give a thumbs up. Right here.
The Queen of Downtown, Carol Schatz.
I am overwhelmed and very uncharacteristically at a loss for words. First, let me thank José. He knows the story that when he was seeking to take over downtown during the last redistricting, we had a few meetings. That cajoler kind of came out, you know. And I basically said, and it was right after the recession was just starting to, ease off, and I knew that this was a very important time, an opportunity for downtown, and we had to make it pop. And so I said, the best thing that you can do is to make sure that these projects move and are entitled and get developed, and you will go to a gazillion ribbon cuttings. More than you would in East LA, some of the other parts of your district. Was I right? Yes. And so he has been a wonderful partner for the business community, really, making sure that we grabbed that time and pushed through as many of the projects as we could. Because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow, and we had to make it happen then. I want to again thank all of you who are here. I want to thank everyone on the stage who have such lovely, kind, and true things to say about me. I don't get the stubborn thing. And I want to thank my family, because they had to put up with a lot. So first, my talented husband, my talented son. Where's my talented son? Hi, Jake. And my brother, who is here, who probably is surprised to hear a lot of these things. I don't know. Okay. So, two things I want to say about my husband that you don't know about. And that is that Fred was also played a major role in this Renaissance, because we would consult with each other in the early days, and it was Fred who came up with the term, the downtown Renaissance. And we put it out there before there truly probably was a Renaissance. But when he knew the press, and he knew that if we got it out there and we had some facts to back it up, they would grab it and use it, and they did. And that's how you use free media to push what you need to push. The other thing that you may not know about Fred is that he gave up a very important job. He was offered a prestigious position at the Washington Post, and he's a former LA Times editor and reporter, and a former Wall Street Journal reporter, so that I could continue to pursue my career and what I wanted to do here. And there aren't that many men who would do that. So I love you. I want to thank Carrie Wolf, who is the indomitable chair of the Downtown Center here, and who has been a wonderful supporter, and all of the board members of the Downtown Center bid, many of whom are here. I am very proud to have represented, not only as members, but as property owners, all of the ownership in this 65 square blocks of downtown Los Angeles. And we really did make a difference. It was a very powerful twosome to have CCA and the bid pushing and pushing, getting the information out, selling this thing before people were true believers, and making them true believers. So thank you to the bid and the property owners. I want to recognize Jessica Law, who I believe is the right person to lead CCA into the future. I want to recognize the staffs of both CCA and the bid since the beginning, who were instrumental in helping us with this effort. I see a number of you in the audience. I don't have this on my notes, but let me just do it. So, my God, where's José? So this man is a hero in my books. He has been working with the Skid Row community for how many years? 19 years. And he makes a difference every day, and that is something that's very important to me. I want to thank friends from elementary school and junior high who are here. I want to thank my first husband who was here. My bid colleagues, property owners that are here. I know I'm forgetting a million people, but I thank you all so much. Joan Pellico, who's Chief of Staff to Paul Perez, Anna, who is, I don't know what your title is with Lucille, but you are at the top, so no matter what your title is. And there's many more that I would recognize, but we can't be here all day. Ray Chan, who truly was one of the great public servants and really moved these projects through. So it's been almost 30 years. It's surreal to me in a way. I have to admit to you that when I started this, or before I started this, I was a native Angelino, and I had pretty much given up on downtown. And I didn't set out initially to revitalize it, because I thought it was just sort of done. I would walk around in the early 90s and talk to myself. You know, I am a little crazy for, you have to be to do what we were doing. And I said, Sean, this ain't coming back. But I am one of those kind of personalities that doesn't give up very easily. And I figure, well, I ain't gonna die on my watch. So that is what propelled me. And then I went around the country for 5 years before I became the CEO. And I saw what they had done, and it was housing that brought things back. And of course, we cannot say enough about the role that AEG played in this whole revitalization, because it would have been a very different story without Staples Center, without LA Live, and I have been joined at the hip with these guys since the mid-90s when we were advocating. We didn't call it Staples Center, we called it the Arena. And I hope that I continue to be joined at the hip, because we can't thank you enough for the investment that's been made. And now, what is it, over $4 billion that AEG has invested in downtown? So when I look at the cranes in the air, the restaurants and clubs that are full of patrons, the streets alive, 24/7 with people enjoying themselves or going to the many jobs that we've created, then I say it was worth it. And people have referred to my strength and the velvet gloved fist, but if Anna was being truly honest, what she would tell you is that the mayor, our current mayor, says Carol is the iron fist in a velvet glove without the velvet glove. And I love that. Never bothered me. And so, yes, I had to be a warrior, and it was not easy to be a woman in that role at that time. And I had to grow a tough outer skin because we were doing advocacy in the second largest city in the country. Ed Johnson, who works for our council president, knows, it's politics can be bruising. And so I did have to be tough. I'm glad that I rose to that occasion, and I will tell you without a doubt that I have no regrets at all about what we did, what I had to do, because I can see the fruits of my labor all around me. Well, I want to thank Jim Thomas and Rob McGuire. They built the western part of downtown at a time when people were probably very doubtful. Eli Broad, as you've heard, who resisted the cries of the West Side, who were trying to pull the Museum of Contemporary Art to the West Side, because he knew how important it was to have a very thriving center. And the fundraising he did for Disney Hall, which was absolutely catalytic. Ira Yellen, who was really, in my opinion, the first real pioneer in purchasing the Grand Central Market and dealing with a downtown that was not moving in the early years of his ownership. I think he would have been absolutely thrilled to see what we have created. I talked about AEG and Gilmore, who used the adaptive reuse ordinance first and gave people the confidence to follow. I want to also thank Seb Moses, who made the first investments in that key amenity for a residential community, bars and clubs. And when I saw some of these clubs opening in the places that they did, I remember on A Street, just east of Olive, I said, oh my God, this ain't gonna work. But it did. John Herman, I think, is here from Bottega Louie. John, are you still here? He was here. And obviously, look, we saw that huge space, and he filled it. And it is still one of the most successful restaurants in the country. I want to thank my former colleague and still my colleague, Hal Bastian, who was our first director of economic development and who was a matchmaker and brought in a lot of awesome investment with Amber Leely, who was my first chief operating officer. Suzanne, where are you? Suzanne Hawley, who is our Chief Operating Officer, and without whom I could not function, and the rest of my staff, Nick Griffin. I'm not going to name you all because I'm going to forget one of you again. So, and so many others who contributed to this vision, either as staff or investors. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And by the way, I have to recognize the Ani guys, because they came from Canada. They started with a building or two, and now they're the second largest property owner downtown. And I'm living in one of their places. It's pretty good, too. Thank you for being here. What a triumph for us and for the city of LA, and it's not over yet. The Renaissance is just hitting its stride, and the sky is the limit. Thank you again for the recognition, and please join us at our reception at Tacoma. Thank you again. AEG was critical to the Renaissance. It gave people a reason to come downtown, which they didn't have before then. Angelenos just didn't come downtown unless they were working there. So it transformed downtown, and with the housing we created through the adaptive reuse ordinance, it was those two things primarily that really started up the Renaissance.
Any words you'd use to describe working with Dan Beckerman?
Dan Beckerman is a very capable and lovely CEO, and I have valued that relationship from the very beginning.
KGWOW, remarkable video for business growth. KGNOW, insightful non-political news stories. KGPOW, sizzling reviews that pop, pop, pop. KGHOW, modern empowerment in seconds. And KGBOW, spiritual content for love and aspiration. Check out the KGWOW family of brands now.